Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow you the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahweh cometh for it is nigh at hand. Shalom Yasharallah, which means peace Israel. I'd like to start off by giving our praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachach Kodash. Yahweh, thou be the true and powerful, mighty name, of who the world ignorantly calls God, Jehovah, Yahweh, or Ahia. Bahashem means in the name, Yahweh Shai, thou be the true and powerful, mighty name, of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yeshua, or Yeshaya, and the Rachach Kodash is the Holy Spirit, according to the ancient Paleo Hebrew tongue. I would like to give double honors unto the apostles and elders, a great millstone, who I've learned the truth of the Bible from. Peace, blessing, safety, and salutation unto a hopeful elect, unto the hopeful elect, until he believes the listeners out there that came back into the faith and obedience of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Much love and respect unto you brothers pushing this gospel in sincerity and truth, risking your lives and freedom now more so than ever. May Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai continue to bless you and your households. I'm the brother Yawan, coming back at you with another lesson, Lord, when it's edifying to the Lord's elect. And just want to go into a topic on the MOTB, okay? Because like it said, like this video from Jason A says, it's already begun. Yeah, we're already here. We're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. We're in the beginning of sorrows. And a lot of people, they can't see it because they're blind. Their eyes, their minds have been blinded. All right? So I'm going to let a little bit of this play. And before I do that, let me pull this up. Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay? So, we'll be doing some commentary on this video here. Okay, so without further ado,
what I'm most concerned about actually is not only these 5G towers, but now they're actually going to be rolling out 6G infrastructure. There'll be many more base stations, so you'll be more saturated. And 6G is actually 5G on steroids. It operates at terahertz frequencies. This has already been shown to be able to induce DNA damage in neural stem cells, as well as genomic instability, as well as cell death, apoptosis in the laboratory. Wow. And so this is planned to be.
So, and that 6G, I speculate is going to wreak havoc on those that shot the jump shot. Okay?
Basically everywhere, and it will be used for AI brain chips as well as through wall.
Used for AI what? AI brain chips? Well, what did Bishop Nate say? Ain't no microchips. And it's crazy. You got everyday people. You got Edomites, people outside of this truth. Okay, even Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that know at the mark of the beast. But you got certain Israelite groups still playing around and tap dancing around this prophecy, man. Y'all congregation is going to murk y'all, man. They gonna do some horrific things to you because you playing around with their salvation, man.
Surveillance.
Okay, let me play you a soundbite. This is the CEO of Nokia talking about that.
2030, I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we
know it today will not anymore be the usual, kind of the most common interface. Wow. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies. Yeah.
So they're trying to put smartphones in your body. Let me get this real quick. Or is it 2 Corinthians? 2 Corinthians 2:11, that Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Right. Okay, we're not ignorant to the things that the spiritual demon Satan, through his physical counterpart Esau, Edom, okay, because they're the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. That's why they're classified as the wicked. But we're not ignorant on what they want to do to the population. They want to put these chips inside people to control them. Okay? We were fine with our phones being outside of our bodies. We don't need them inside of us, man. Okay? I brought that up. Let me get this. 5 and 11, 6 and 11. This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 11. Put on the whole armor of the Most High Yahweh, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Right, and that's going into those elites. They want to sit here and put under the skin surveillance inside of everybody so they can control you. They'll fucking shut your chip off if you don't agree with their policies, or they can limit what you can and can't buy, limit how many credits you can get or you can receive a month. Man, I don't want to live in a world like that, because shit, this is bad enough already.
Nick, that sounds like mind control, like Bill Gates stuff. Like, yeah, sure, just put a chip in your arm. Sorry, no thank you for me, personally. I don't need a cell phone chip in my body.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what's coming. China just approved the world's first commercial brain chip. We have Neuralink coming, and this is going to be pushed heavily on the population and interface with the new 6G infrastructure, probably resulting in very severe deleterious health effects, as well as merging human consciousness with AI.
It seems like every day artificial intelligence plays a bigger role in all of our lives, and soon it will be required in all new vehicles.
Yeah, because that's part of the system of the beast. They're going to need artificial intelligence for this thing to work. And they rolled it out here to the people so AI can build up a dossier on us, but then also, too, we're helping program our worst enemy.
Vehicles. News 10's Ben Verbanik explains how a new law might impact one of your biggest personal assets.
Imagine a world where you get in your own car to go for a drive, but before you can start the engine or shift out of park, an artificial intelligence system is scanning your face, analyzing your behaviors, and determining if you're alert enough to drive. It sounds like a far-off science fiction story, but it's not. It's happening soon. In 2021, the federal government voted through a new safety initiative saying that every new car sold starting in 2027 could be required to monitor the person behind the wheel.
Because you have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you can have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection, but you're going to make a tremendous amount of money. You're going to reduce taxes, and you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it.
Right now, there is a machine sitting in a warehouse where a worker is placing a book into it.
And that's just an unrighteous decree, man. Okay, sitting here putting these AI systems in cars to see if people are good enough to drink. Good enough to drive. I mean, that's wickedness, man, which I get it. The safety aspect, you don't want drunk or impaired drivers on the road, which I get that. Okay. But that's the goddamn case. Put freaking breathalyzers And these people call. I used to have a coworker. He was fighting a DWI case, and the court issued an order to install a breathalyzer kit in his car, and his car would not start unless he passed the blow test, which I feel like that was just technology they were using to prepare for this technology here. Okay, which is wickedness. Okay, get a quick precept. Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and their right grievousness which they prescribe, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Okay, and that really the main target is us. Okay, yeah, they're gonna Esau gonna get some of his own people in the crossfire, but the main target is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay, let's continue on.
And the blade comes down, the spine is cut away, the pages race through a scanner, and then the book is not discarded, it's shredded. Not recycled, not damaged in a flood, not lost in a fire. It's destroyed on purpose because now the digital copy is now considered enough.
And with these digital copies, they can alter things. Okay? These devils are not to be trusted, man. Let me get this real quick. Ecclesiastes, Sirach 12:10. Never trust our enemy, for like his iron rusted, so of his wickedness. Okay? These people are not to be trusted, man. Point blank, period.
Now imagine this is happening again and again and again, not 100 times, not 1,000 times, millions of times.
Who's to say they're not gonna
They want every book on planet Earth to be ingested into the machine. Now that on it in and of itself is fine. That's a fine goal. Okay? Not shredded.
Because, and I can attest to this, and I know brothers, the brother over me in my camp, Yazriala, used to tell me this all the time, and like I heard brothers and the apostles say this plenty of times. It's nothing like sitting down and reading that hard paperback copy, okay? Because it's a different spirit than, you can feel the spirit when you're reading your actual Bible versus when you're reading it off the phone, man. And they're trying to get rid of that because they want people to be glued to these devices.
Now, Anthropic is one of the largest artificial intelligence companies in the world, and they have launched a project called Project Panama. And its goal is simple and ruthless. Acquire every book in the world that you can, scan it, and destroy the original. Why not give them to libraries? Now, this was not an accident. This is not a warehouse mistake.
This all goes back into control. Esau wants to control the history. He wants to control the narrative. Okay. Let me... another one. Change times. Daniel 2:21, and he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. That's talking about Yahweh. Here it is, Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. This is talking about these Edomites. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Okay, this is by them trying to take control of everything, to say that, they can do it better than God, which they can't. And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. And who are the saints of the Most High? Yeah, the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We worn out here, especially the elect. And to think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand for a time, and then dividing a time, 350 years. Okay, And that's what he's trying to do by getting rid of all the books. Okay, because he can control the narrative of history. Okay, but Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah is only going to let him get so far.
They had already been raked over the coals and fined for training on pirated books. So this time they say, we'll buy them legally, by the pallet, from the wholesalers all over the world. Then the books went into industrial scanners and they were shredded. Now, here's the problem. If you want to do this to new books, fine. You know, there's millions in copies of this book, fine. But Anthropic knew exactly how you would feel about this.
Exactly.
So they issued a private, confidential internal memo and told the employees to keep this whole operation secret. Quote, we don't want it to be known what we're working on right now.
Yeah,
by scanning your face, eyes, and tracking your behavior, new cars could determine if you are a risk to drive and stop you from starting the car. The goal is to cut down on drunk driving and improve road safety, but some people have concerns.
Have you ever had a conversation with artificial intelligence? Have you ever, gone into the help button on anything from, your cellular telephone to your insurance provider and tried to ask it a question? AI, even in the most well-meaning circumstances, screws just about everything up.
That's true.
Proponents for the new law.
Because it's made by man. Okay? Anything made by man is faulty. It's going to mess up. Okay? Which makes me, in fact, let me get this in the NLT. Isaiah 31. All right, and bear with me a quick second. All right, I'm back. So this is Isaiah 31:1. What sorrow awaits those who look to Egypt for help, trusting their horses, chariots, and charioteers, and depending on the strength of human armies instead of looking to Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. In his wisdom, the Lord Yahweh will send great disaster. He will not change his mind. He will rise against the wicked and against their helpers. For the Egyptians, which is the Americans, are mere humans, not God. Their horses are puny flesh, not mighty spirits. When the Lord Yahweh raises his fist against them, those who help will stumble, and those being helped will fall. They will all fall down and die together. So proving that anything Esau makes is faulty. Okay? Like it says, puny flesh. Not of Yahweh's, Holy Spirit. Even though it's, left hand power, it still don't compare to the right hand of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah.
Laws say that the systems will be vetted and calibrated correctly. I reached out to federal lawmakers for comment, but did not hear back. Kendall says this also leads to privacy concerns.
This is why, Ben, I have a car, and this is no joke. You know this. It has no power.
Yeah, man, you got them sitting there watching you as you drive and shit. Okay? And then, they're going to send it, the data to your local and nearest police station. Hold on. I got to get this. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 18. This has been coming out a lot too on my page. They hunt our steps that we cannot go into our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our prosecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Lord Yahweh, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under the shadow we shall live like the heathen. Okay, but point being is they hunt our steps, man. Okay, they want to know everything we're up to at all points in time, man, like they're the Most High himself. No.
Locks. It has no power windows. It reports to no one. It barely has a terrestrial radio. I'm not trying to evade anyone, but I don't want the government knowing anything about me.
Local car dealer David Fusen of Fusen Automotive tells me that AI is already in some cars with self-driving auto cruise features.
It does watch your eyes. If they're closed, it vibrates your seat. It's watching. And if you look away, it lets you look and enjoy, but it wants your eyes on the road. And it will disable Super Cruise if you do it too many times.
Fusen tells me he has not heard anything from car suppliers about this, indicating that they might end up lobbying the federal government to change the law before it takes effect.
Not as quick as 2027. I think we're farther out than 2027. But Super Cruise is becoming more advanced, more safe, and it just, that will take time.
Like it or not, AI is here, and it's not going anywhere. And now, if your car doesn't think you're alert enough to drive, neither are you.
So even just in saying those words, I'm thinking, well, I mean, could it track if someone is perhaps maybe, going to sleep behind the wheel and help out? Could it track if someone is possibly under the influence behind the wheel and therefore help out and save a life? But then also the privacy. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Sure. At first pass, it makes a lot of sense, right? Hey, we save some lives. People who are intoxicated should not drive a vehicle. It's a great story as a top line headline. The risk is the privacy side. The law that passed was Section 24220 of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. This is going back a number of years. The governing body that regulates highway safety and vehicle safety is the NHTSA. They were supposed to put rules in place based on this law of how cars monitor drivers. They were supposed to do that a couple years ago, about a year and a half ago. They missed the deadline. They're actively trying to get these rules put in place. But the risk is the technology, right? They're saying they need to have infrared cameras in the A-frame and the corners of your vehicle. They need to track your eye movements, your pupil dilation, your head movements, behavioral signals. This technology exists today, especially on General Motors vehicles, for example. It'll warn you if it thinks you're getting drowsy, if you're driving late and hitting lines, or starting to look like you're nodding off, or playing on a cell phone while driving. The modern cars oftentimes will detect that and alert the driver. The problem is that for anybody who has a modern car like that, they're not very accurate. And the number of times I've been driving perfectly safe in the middle of the afternoon and getting you want to stop for a coffee break notice on my car, it's not there yet. And the law requires a 99.9% accuracy.
But Esau don't care if it's ready or not. Okay? He ready to roll this thing out so he can get this, the NWO going, man. Psalms 2:1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh, and against his anointed Yahushua, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Okay? And we got to pray unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua that he disappoint the devices of the crafty. Job 5:12, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Right. So Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is only going to let them get so far.
Because it's coupled with some pretty serious impacts where you can't drive the car. It won't let you start the car, or it could limit your speeds in some cases. So having a machine monitor you as a human and decide what you can and cannot do with the vehicle while stopping drunk drivers sounds great. That's, in my opinion, a massive violation of privacy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, maybe having it installed after someone has gotten a DUI, but just every car being retrofitted with this, kind of seems like a bit much right now. But maybe we're just not there yet. Maybe we're just not there yet. Who knows how we'll be feeling? I mean, says 2027. That's not far away, but I don't know. It's a pretty drastic leap.
Usually when the NHTSA issues rules for automakers, they give 2 to 3 years heads up. So the original launch date was 2027. It's possible, but it's more likely it's going to get pushed back a year or two. That said, it is coming. The law was signed. It was passed. February of this year, Trump funded it, which means there's no other off-ramps unless they overturn it somehow. It's an actual signed law, which is terrifying. And it's not just the privacy side. It goes beyond your vehicle because the data doesn't stay in your car. When they're tracking your head motion, they're tracking your awakeness, your alertness, your suspected sobriety. That data gets sent up to the automaker, and their servers, their cloud tracks that on a driver level and an owner level who owns the car. And there's historical precedent where automakers sell that data to data brokers like LexisNexis, who then historically built a driver safety model that was sold to insurance companies. They're trying to make it fuzzy and de-identify it is the word. But at the end of the day, it gets back to your insurance companies, and they can adjust your personal rates based on your car spying on you. And I know some insurance companies have that as an opt-in to let your car track you and report back. I think Allstate does that. But this is not an optional thing. This is every new car would automatically report it. And that's just the insurance implications. Then you think about police, you think about other government organizations who buy from these data brokers. You lose control of a pretty private moment when you're driving your car by yourself, and there's nothing in the law that restricts where the data can go and who they can sell it to.
This is something that I have been warning about for a long time. I don't know if you'll remember, but I have said it over and over again. Buy paper copies of books. Buy the paper copies of books. A book is more than ink and paper. A book is a witness. Once it's printed, it can't quietly change overnight. Nobody can sneak into your library at night and rewrite page 247. Nobody can update chapter 5 while you're asleep. The printed book stays exactly the way, and what it said the day it left the press will always be that way, forever.
Yep.
A digital file is different. Now, I'm not claiming Anthropic is secretly changing books. I'm saying something more simple and much more dangerous. Without the original, there is nothing left to check against the file.
So there you go. Okay. So let's get a few more precepts. But yeah, man. That's the wicked trying to, get their beast system off the ground. Let's see where I want to start. Revelation 13:11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. Talking about America, Babylon the Great. The 2 horns represents the Democratic and Republican Party, or pretty much the bipartisan parties that they have. And the speaking of the dragon goes into his, draconian legislations. Verse 12, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, talking about the Roman Empire, and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Yeah, this Roman system. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, missiles, direct energy weapons, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, going into his technology, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. Okay, revising the Roman Empire. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the beast should be killed. Going into this technology and all these laws revolving around the technology and AI, okay, and data centers and all that. And if you don't get down with their program, they got the right to lock you up, ostracize you from society, or worse, unalive you. And he calls it both all. He calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Going back to those the cell phone chips, the Bill Gates chips that the guy was talking about. That's what it's talking about. These chips that they're trying to put into people. It's the mark of the beast. Okay, that's going to pretty much symbolize your allegiance to the beast, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here's wisdom, that him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, and we all know if you take that thing, you're not going to be able to repent from it. Revelation 14:9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark in his forehead or his hand, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Yeah, because they took this thing, man. Okay, but we need Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to disappoint the devices of the heathen. Shit. Or bring the counsel to the heathen to naught. Psalms 33:10. The Lord Yahweh bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. The counsel of the Lord Yahweh standeth forever, the thoughts of his heart to all generations. So yeah, they can only get so far. Wow. He's eating. Job chapter 20 and verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Okay, going into, the wicked, trying to bring out this enterprise. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him when he is about to fill his belly. Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and coming out of his body, yea, the glittering sword coming out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. Man. But yeah, Yahweh's going to disappoint him. And all of us, including myself, we need to add this into our prayers. This is Psalms chapter 140 and verse 8. Grant not, O Yahweh, the desires of the wicked. Further not his device, lest they exalt themselves. Salah. And we know that they're not going to be able to do it, okay, because that's how it was written. But still, we should be implementing that into our prayers, okay, to showcase Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that we don't want this beast system to come into its full fruition. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I pray and hope that the edification was made. I want to give our praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachach, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, safety, and salutation until the hopeful elect, until you believers and listeners out there. Shalom.